Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to sew an invisible zipper without an invisible zipper foot in your machine. And I'll also go over how you can line the body of the dress or the pair of shorts or skirt or whatever you're making when you have an invisible zipper in it. Before we get started, let's go over some of the materials and the tools that we're going to need for this tutorial. Number one, you need your invisible zipper. The point of an invisible zipper is so that when you close the garment, you will not see any sort of indication that there is a zipper other than this little tab right here that you can see. So this part where you don't see any of the coils is the right side of the zipper. The wrong side is the side that has all the coils. The next thing you'll need is a zipper foot. Notice that this zipper foot is just a generic zipper foot. You're also going to need some matching thread and a sewing needle and a little pin cushion, because we're going to be hand sewing at some point. You will need some pins. You will also need a pair of scissors, preferably a small pair that you can get in and cut any loose threads. And of course you will need a sewing machine. This is optional, but I highly suggest that you do this. A pair of safety goggles, because believe it or not, you can break a needle on your zipper by accident and it can hit you in the eye. It almost happened to me once, which is why I now equip myself with safety goggles. Since I drafted this pattern myself and I don't have any guidelines to go with it, I had to make my own guidelines for where I wanted to put my zipper. In this case, I took my garment, took it inside out, tried it on, and pinned it along the zipper seam. While I had it pinned, I took some chalk and I drew all along the pinned line, on the wrong side of course. So that way I knew where my zipper was going to go. Because we're working with an invisible zipper, we want to bring this line to the other side, to the right side of the garment. So as you can see, I have it pinned here. You can't see the white chalk line, it's very faint, but I do have it pinned, which means that I can just flip it over and I can still see the pins. And I'm just gonna take my chalk and I'm basically going to connect the dots. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side once this is done. So now the lines have been transferred from the back side to the front side of the garment. So here I have my zipper, and as you can see, my zipper is a little bit longer than the point of where it's gonna go. So I'm gonna actually have to shorten this zipper, and I'll show you how to do that. So first, you want to bring these two edges together. You want your tab to be about 1 centimeter from the top of your dress. So I'm just gonna measure out 1 centimeter and mark it with some chalk. And I'm going to take my tab, place it at that mark, and I'm going to go all the way down until where my zipper ends. And I'm going to mark that in chalk on my zipper. You're going to take your zipper and you're going to take your machine and you're going to choose a tight zigzag stitch. So for me, I'm going to choose number 2 on my brother machine. You're going to place it over the line . And for this, remember to put your safety goggles on in case your needle breaks and comes flying to hit you in the face. And you're just gonna sew over the zipper. Try opening your zipper to see if that stops it. In this case, it stops. So I'm just gonna zip it back up I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna trim, give it about 1 centimeter and just cut. Now what we have to do is figure out how to sew this into the garment. So as we said before, the part with the tab showing is the right side, and then the part with all the teeth showing is the wrong side. This is how a zipper, an invisible zipper, should look like in your garment. Now we're going to open up the zipper, and I like to start working on the left side first, but it doesn't really matter which side you start with. So since I'm going to be working with the left side, I'm going to take away the right side of the garment. We don't need that. I'm going to take away the right side of the zipper. We don't need this. And because we want to sew right sides to right sides, we're going to take this and flip it. We're going to make sure that the little tab where the zipper stops matches up with our markings, and we're going to make sure that our lining is pulled away. The teeth are supposed to line up with that base stitch, and you're just going to pin that in place. Now you're going to work your way all the way down. So now we're ready to take this side to the sewing machine. Since we're going to be working with the left side, we want to try and see which side of the zipper foot we want to put into the machine. So we place it with the edge along the teeth, and we see that we want the needle to be on the left side of the zipper foot. When we put the zipper foot into the machine, we're going to make sure that the needle goes right through that left hole. So now we're going to just go ahead, keeping the lining away. If it helps if you have a lining and it's already attached to the top, you can take away this portion and shorten this. The trick with sewing an invisible zipper with a normal zipper foot is that you want to get as close as possible to the zipper edge. You're going to take your fingernail or your finger and you're going to try and flatten out the zipper as much as possible while you're sewing, and you're going to go very slowly. That is the key. Slow and steady. So this is what we're going to do right now. When you get to the end, sew as far as you can until the tab prevents you from going any further. So as a preview, you can flip it over and see what it's going to look like from the right side. So as you can see, we stayed pretty close to the base stitch, although not quite 100%, but I think it's going to look fine in the end. So unzip it again, and we're going to move the machine so that we can have a nice clean table to pin the other side of the zipper to the garment. To sew the other side of the zipper, we flipped the dress inside out, like this, and I'm just pushing the right side of the garment to show you that this is the zipper that we sewed already. This is the zipper part that we sewed. We have to sew this part now. So you take your left side, you flip it over so that you have the right side facing out. And again, make sure that you have that marking 1 centimeter down from the top. Separate your lining and take the right side of your zipper, making sure that there aren't any twists. Make sure that you don't have any twists in that. You want to make it nice and straight. And you're going to line up the coil top with that marking. And you're just going to pin that. Make sure it's lined up. Line up the coils to that base line. So now we're going to take this to the machine and sew that down. You'll notice that now the zipper teeth are on the right side, which means that we have to change the zipper foot from being on the left side to being on the right side. So that's what I'm going to do now. And flip it right side out. Take this tab, push it, you flip it and push it inside so that this tab is poking out. And zip it up to see how it looks. So there is your invisible zipper. It's been put in. You can still see that it's not perfect, but considering that we don't have an invisible zipper foot, it's pretty good. Now, from here on in, we're going to be doing all kinds of hand sewing. We're going to hand sew these tabs down and behind. We're going to hand sew this little portion here that's open. We're just going to whip stitch that together. And we're also going to go on the inside and sew in the lining. So we're first going to deal with these annoying tab things. So what you're going to do, you can open it up a little bit so you have a little bit more room to work with. And you're going to work, here, let's just open this up more. You're going to be working on this side, on the right side. And you're just going to take this part, flip it over, and you're just going to sew it to the right side. I'm just going to pin it in place for now. Next, we're going to tack down this part of the zipper to the seam allowance. So the way that we're going to do that, we're going to just grab one side of the seam allowance, make sure you're not grabbing this actual part of the dress, and we're just going to hand sew this down. We're just going to tack this side down. So as you can see, I've already sewn this right side of our lining. So I'm going to show you how to sew this side of the lining. The first thing you have to do is you want to try and trim this part so that it kind of matches with the seam allowance from the zipper. So that's what I'm going to do. So now I've cut that part. I am going to turn this side over, and I'm going to turn it over double. And I'm going to pin it down a little bit away from the zipper teeth. To the top, you're gonna want to just tuck this under like that and then pin that in place. Now we're gonna slip stitch all of this length, and then we're gonna turn it inside out, or right side out I should say, press it, and then it's done. Now when you're going to be hand sewing this, you don't want to sew all the way through to the other side. you want to just sew to the zipper tape. Gone ahead and pressed it. Now all I have left to do is take out any basting stitching that I see and to whip stitch these parts down to the zipper tape on this side.